Okay, what is up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. So, as always, guys, if you enjoyed the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you go check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat, and also in the description below. You can't miss it. Join discussions, chat with other traders, including myself, as well as find a little bit more about Elevating Traders, the firm, as well. And of course, you can find your discount code there as well. So if you are interested, make sure you go check it out. Link to that in the description and at the top of the chat. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. Tony Gold, what is up? Welcome. Himanshu, yes, we'll go through gold and pound CAD. I'll just go through USD pairs first, take a look at the DXY, go through USD majors, and of course I will go through gold and silver, and then I'll go through pound CAD as well. So any requests, just drop it down in the chat and we will take a look. But I hope everyone's doing well this Monday. Interesting week. Hopefully markets will start to pick up pretty soon. Of course, we still got New Year's Day on Wednesday, but hopefully from next week we start to see momentum pick up a little bit as people return to the markets. But as always, we'll start with the dollar. So nothing's really changed since I last spoke about the dollar, at least for the past couple of weeks now. It's pretty much the same analysis because we have just been going sideways. So from a swing perspective, the swing I'm looking for is still the main idea I have with dollar, still looking at more upside. I know that we got some big heights right now, but it looks like price is breaking through that same level of resistance. So if we can keep that up, I do expect to see more upside. Of course, if we were to come back down with some aggressive momentum and close back below, I would scrap that bias as well. At that point, it does look like we're rejecting that same level again, and we could be looking at dollar turning around. So until that happens, I remain bullish. But if we do see a strong close on the weekly chart, breaking us back below that level, just like we did 3 or 4 weeks ago with that bearish candle there, I will be bearish again. But for now, that hasn't happened. So still remaining bullish. And of course, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, we still do have some bullish structure with us. We've, of course, got the high on the left. You got the high low down here. And we just about created some new highs over there as well, taking out that high. So the plan is now looking for the next pullback, next higher low, for the next higher high. And this is really the area which I'm looking for it. If I move this higher time frame level out the way, we've got a nice range here where we stalled for quite a few hours, probably 2 or 3 days before some really nice momentum came into the market. I think that was from the interest rates actually. So really nice move to the upside, has left behind a nice level for us to come back and retest. We haven't had the retest yet, so it's a nice fresh area. Should price get there, I would expect to see a bounce and follow through, and of course at least a pushback to the high. And if that's the case, we could go a lot higher. I'm looking at potentially a push to 113, 114 if you really do get the breakout of this level back to the highs up there on the left. So still very bullish on dollar until we see price break back underneath that weekly zone, which at the moment in time is not happening. So very bullish on the dollar. So taking that into consideration, dropping to the Euro USD market, I do like the sells with this one. I'm not as confident with the breakout on Euro in terms of the higher time frames. We haven't really seen a solid weekly candle closure, which has got me excited about potential breakout of support here. A lot of the weekly candles have just been a lot of wicks. So we have seen some minor closes below the level, which is great, but most of these closes have just given us a lot of wicks to the downside with this close and that close in particular. And of course, last week as well, a small doji candle, not really showing much momentum. Now, this is a really big level, so price is going to break through this on Euro. I need to see some momentum. I need to see some strength with this, with these moves if I want to say, okay, there's a breakout. So not quite sold yet on the breakout, but again, for now, I'm still pretty bullish on USD. So markets like Euro, I do anticipate more downside, and there's still bearish structure at play. We still got these consecutive lower highs, one over there, second there. This is where we had the big drop from the interest rates. As I mentioned on my weekly analysis, I think shorts still look good. If price was to come up, retest some structure over here, I do think that could be a nice sell to take it back down into the lows, and hopefully we see momentum really kick in to the markets again. But for now, still pretty bearish on Euro until I see a big move breaking through the highs here on the left, which is 1.06181. If we were to have a big move breaking through that structure there, that would make me shift my bias back to bullish again for Euro. then I'll be looking for some higher lows and some higher highs at that point. But of course, still a long way away from that. But it's important to have both sides of the coin mapped out as a trader, because of course we can make money going up and make money going down. So you want to have things mapped out that tell you, okay, if this happens, I'm bullish. If this happens, I'm bearish. And then you can find your opportunities that way. So for now, still very bearish on euro, still looking for more downside, as long as we don't take out that high there at 1.06181. And this is the setup I'm looking at the moment. Going over to pound USD, I talked about some more downside for this one, but I did say it's important that we do break through support here, because otherwise there is still a possibility for a big double bottom and price could still reverse us to the upside. So I wouldn't be looking for sells just yet. You can do, I did speak about some more aggressive shorts on the weekly analysis as well, maybe approaching the high here, trying to find the next lower high in this perspective. So of course you got one over there, you got a second over there, and of course potentially looking for the third one. Bit more aggressive, reason being we're still retesting that support level, still holding. Like I said, there could be a big double bottom at play, but if you do catch it well, you could catch the break to the downside and some more follow through. There are some daily levels just below us where price could come back and retest. And again, this does stem from dollar being strong. If dollar is going to be strong and maintain that strength, then of course euro and pound will fall. And these are kind of the ways I'm expecting them to see their downside. Either we get the lower high coming into this area around 1.26, or we wait patiently for the break of support and look for some lower highs underneath. This, of course, being the much safer trade, since we've already got the sign that, okay, price is breaking through, bearish momentum steps into the market. And then you can take your trades on the retest of that same level around 1.25. But overall, still looking for more downside. And again, similar to euro, if price was to break through this area here, that would be confirmed double bottom. At that point, I'm looking for the next high low and a continuation to the upside. So that will put me bullish again for pound. I'm probably seeing structure breaking on euro as well. In terms of dollar CAD, still very bullish on this one. Dollar CAD is pretty straightforward in terms of what the market is doing. We've seen a massive breakout on the weekly chart. I'm expecting a bigger pullback at some point because it's been such a big breakout of this weekly high at 1.395. The market's still pretty stretched. I do think we're definitely due a pullback at some point. However, I still do see more upside as the likely move. We've got some major resistance around here on the weekly chart, around 1.46, just above 1.46. So this is where I expect dollar CAD to end up at in the next few weeks. But in the meantime, we might see a bit of a move down first to find some more support, maybe even a retest of that zone. That's not completely out of the picture before continuing to the upside. So taking that information into the low charts, into the 4 hour in particular, I'm looking for a pullback of this move. I do like this area here. It lines up very well with the 0.618. Dollar CAD is a pair on the watch list, which I do like the opportunity of. So if we were to see the pullback this week or just whenever, it will be an opportunity which I look to get involved with if I do get my confirmations. But there's a nice area of confidence here with that level prior high, which would now be taking as support around 1.415. And I'm pretty sure we got a nice ascending trend line as we connect these higher lows. So yeah, we've got a really nice area of confidence around this area here. So should dollar CAD see a bit of retracement this week, or just whenever, really doesn't have to be this week, of course, I will be more than happy to find some longs. And I like it because the risk reward is high. There's momentum in our favor. We know the higher time frames are pushing strong. So should we see that higher low and catch it well, could be a situation where you just ride that momentum back to the high at 1.445 and hopefully back to the next weekly level at 1.467 as well. So dollar CAD is definitely something I'm keeping a close eye on. In terms of Aussie dollar, this one's still pretty bearish. Again, probably due a pullback a little bit. It's been falling for quite a while, taking out some very key daily swing lows. So we took out that low there. We took out this low here as well. And we haven't really had much of a pullback since. So again, we'll do a bit of a pullback at some point, but I do expect lower prices, to be honest. I'm still looking for this wick low to be taking out. In fact, if I go to the monthly chart, you can see where I'm kind of getting that longer term bearish bias from. We've had some really key support here on the left, which has been flipped as resistance. Overall, the market's still pretty bearish. We're keeping up with these lower highs on the monthly chart. Looks like we printed another one. So I do think longer term, we're probably ending up back at the lows here, which is why I'm expecting this wick low to be taken out pretty soon. It's just about timing and getting involved in a nice trade here with Aussie dollar, because we've taken out some key lows. I do expect a bit of a pullback at some point. I did mention on the weekly analysis that this would be a nice area for a short, since the market's been so consistent with all of these lower highs. As we can see, very consistent with these pullbacks. It will be nice for price to come back, retest some structure, and of course, find that next swing to the downside, and of course, find that next lower high as well. That would be a nice place for it. So, yeah, it's just a bit tricky with Aussie dollar because there's just so much momentum in the market. We need to see a bit of a pullback to find those shorts. Otherwise, it's just a bit difficult, taking shorts at these prices. Not that the market can't keep falling, it definitely can, but it would be nice to have a bit of a breather so you can be a bit more confident to hold those shorts a little bit longer. And of course, I'm expecting us to go and take out that wick at 0.616. In terms of New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same thing. These guys have been copying each other very, very well. New Zealand dollar, again, taking out some major swing lows in the daily chart, taking out this low here, taking out this low here as well. And again, haven't seen much of a pullback since then. So I do expect that to happen, a pullback to happen. I'm still expecting more downside back to the this low here. If I go to the monthly chart, again, same situation. You can see massive support taking in resistance, really strong rejections. So I do think longer term, we're probably going to take out the wick low here as well, which we're not too far away in ends the USD's case, 0.551. We could see that happen next month potentially. So we could be seeing that happen pretty soon. But again, like Aussie dollar, big move to the downside, taking out some big lows, hasn't seen much of a pullback. All we've been doing over the past few days is just consolidate. So I think potentially we could be on for a bit of a pullback, find some more sellers, and then of course get the continuation we're looking for. And I mentioned this area being a nice level to sell from, keeping up with those lower highs, but also coming back to retest some structure. That would be very nice as well, around 0.576. But the bigger move, I'm looking for a push back down to 0.551. Excuse me. So that is still very much the plan with New Zealand dollar. As you can see, pretty much all pairs, I'm favoring that USD strength continuing until proven otherwise, really. And then, of course, you got your lovely gold and silver. So with gold, actually, let me go to Wanda. With gold, I was talking about some shorts last week off this zone here, which seems to be playing out pretty well. Haven't seen really momentum step in, but we've had a nice reaction at that same area. We talked about some shorts around this 26.40 area. Nice rejection last week. Haven't really come back for that. So unless you entered the trade last week, difficult to find some entries now, unless maybe you scaled right down to like some 15-minute charts and got into some pullbacks early on. But nonetheless, I'm expecting more downside for gold back to a swing low here at 25.84. Again, I'm still long-term bullish gold, and the areas I'm looking to buy from is still back down at this low at 25.40. So that's kind of where I'm looking for gold to push towards before I do contemplate some buys. Depends how we get there, depends how we look, whether I do look for buys or not. But I'm still looking for a push back to the all-time highs for gold. It's just about timing and making sure I'm getting in at the right time. But for now, the market's still bearish. Really aggressive double top pattern, even broke structure to the downside. I'm looking at this as a bit of a minor pullback for some more momentum to the downside. So the plan is shorts from here back into the low, potentially that low as well. And then I can start talking about some buys if we do respect it, of course. And then, of course, you got your lovely silver, which again, I'm still waiting for a bigger pullback for some buys as well. I will contemplate some double bottoms forming around here because the market is becoming a bit more corrective now. So it tells me that this could just be a really big bear flag pattern. Of course, you got your highs there, you got your lows. So I'm kind of looking for another big double push to the downside and potentially some buys off that low. At the same time, there might be some shorts to take advantage of in the more immediate future. If price was to pull back into this area, similar to the setup on gold, looking for the retest of that area for some shorts, then maybe some buys do form later on. So looking for some sells for a bigger buy later on. That's really the plan there with both gold and silver. Depends what you're looking for, depends what your bias is. If you're a short bias, I'm looking at that area there on silver, 30.2. If you're looking at gold as well, there's a nice area if we were to come back and retest it, around 26.30, 26.40 as well. But longs, these are the areas I'm looking at, and that is where I do expect the bigger move to be for both of them. So yeah, that's really where I'm at with gold and silver and the USD pairs together. It's gonna be an interesting one to see how everything pans out, but so far still looking at those bigger moves there. What's up, people? Hope everyone's doing well. Keris, good morning. Good morning. Sets the die. Welcome to the stream. Good morning. Hope you're well. Ahmed, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. New Zealand Seed Chef. Okay, yep. I'm looking at New Zealand Seed Chef. That pair is a market on my watch list this week. It has pulled back into a nice zone as well, so I'm waiting for some development in that area before shorting. It's probably a similar setup to what you're looking at, but yeah, I'll definitely go through that. Ahmed, yes, I will have a look at GJ for you, no problem. Cease Integrated, what is up? Good morning, good morning. Hope you're well. Of course, it's not a good morning where you are, but I hope you're doing good. Darkashon, good morning. Hope you're doing good. How are things looking today? Yeah, they're starting to move a little bit. I think USD pairs have seen a bit of movement. CHF pairs have moved a little bit. Yen pairs, I think they've moved a little bit. Maybe some have. But yeah, I mean, again, we do have New Year's Day on Wednesday. So the markets will be closed for then. So I do expect it to be picking up from that day onwards. So the second onwards when the markets reopen. So we'll see. Sometimes you do get a bit of movements between Christmas and New Year. So keep an eye out. But again, it's always a bit difficult intraday just because you could get stuck in a situation when the market doesn't quite move much. But I'm looking for opportunities. I've got a few pairs I'm looking at. I'll go for my watch list at some point as well. Morning, the High Elf. Hope you are doing good. But I will go through New Zealand Sea Chef and GJ, and I'll go through Pound CAD first because I was supposed to go that earlier for Himanshu. We just went through gold, but Pound CAD, you're asking about long from current price, if I'm not mistaken. No, short from current price. Yeah, I do like shorts actually from current price. Again, it's a bit more counter trend, but Pound CAD is giving us the impression that we're really struggling to break through resistance here. So although yes, we're an uptrend and trend is your friend, which is very, very true, but there are some times where counter trend opportunities make a lot of sense. And this is where a situation when the market has had multiple attempts trying to break through and still we are fading. So the idea of shorts here does make sense given the situation that we're not breaking through this. So if you were to have an entry here, the idea of a stop loss would be above that high, because if price was breaking through again, then of course that invalidates the idea. So I like it because it makes sense where we're trading right at the high. I'm not a big fan of the price action. Haven't really seen a strong shift in momentum. We had a really strong push to the upside last week, and now we're just kind of seeing 4 very small bearish candles there to the downside. So it would be better if you could have a slightly bigger, more exaggerated reaction to show us that the bears are really respecting that area. But essentially, in terms of the sells, I would want price to keep this up, hold that level, and see some downside back into the lows here. Again, because it is counter trend, I wouldn't necessarily look for such a reversal like this, although that could be the situation. I would say look to bank at least a good chunk of profits coming back into that low, and you can always leave some to trail if you're looking for a bigger move. But the chances are, yes, price is still reacting with this level and doing a pretty good job, but we don't know how long for, and we don't know if price is actually going to reverse from here. So I suggest, yes, sells look good, shorts look good from current price. Targets around 1.796 look good as well, kind of just playing that range because we have been up and down the past few days. So I do like that move. Anything more than that is not not necessarily guaranteed. I don't want to use that word, but anything more than that becomes a little bit less likely, because at that point we're breaking structure. We need to see more momentum. So yes, we could sell off him for Pound CAD, but I have to give respect where respect is due to that trend, which is still very bullish. And if we were to break through this, I do think on the flip side there could be some nice buys to take advantage of, because there is a nice level on the weekly chart which we haven't come back to test yet, and maybe that's what price is looking to end up at. So there's room to the upside, room to the downside. It just depends if price can keep up this level as resistance. If it does break, then of course I wouldn't be looking to short anymore, and I would be looking for a one-way ticket back to 1.83. But yeah, from current price, I do think it's a nice level. I just would like to see a bit more evidence that price is respecting that level because it is just a little bit um, depleted, not really seeing some heavy rejection, especially when you go and counter trend as well. Anyway, then we're going to take a look at New Zealand CHF. So New Zealand CHF is a pair which I'm looking at a lot. It's on my watch list. I'm looking to short this one. It is coming back into an area which I'm now interested in. I think we have hit we haven't quite hit the 0.618, but we've at least hit the 50. We're coming back into the zone here. And again, this is the areas which I'm looking to short from. These are the two levels I'm looking to short from. This level being 0.514 if we have a deeper correction, or this one here as well. So I'm waiting for some development in one of those two areas, and I'll be more than happy to look for that next lower high. I think the structure is pretty straightforward. Price action is pretty clear. And the fact is with New Zealand CHF, we've got literally all time frames, all major time frames pointing in the same direction. Monthly's bearish, weekly's bearish, daily's bearish. So as a swing trader, that's always great news. If you've got the higher time frames back in your direction, it means that if you are looking for that bigger swing, there's a good chance if everything goes well, it can really play out in your favor, and could go a long way as well. We've got the all-time lows here with that wick, and that could be a really nice, healthy target to have. Of course, I would definitely look to secure profits at the low here as well, should we bounce from there. But I definitely would be in a situation where I would let price run and let and trail stops, because who knows how far we could push next. But yes, we're coming to a nice zone, 0.51 and 0.514, the two areas I'm looking at. We've just come into the first area, nice wick rejection, looking for a little bit more than that before I do place any shorts, but nice to see we're starting to respect that zone. If we were to push a little bit higher and break through that area, like I said, I do have a second area which I'm looking at to be turned resistance, as long as price doesn't take out the high here, because of course that is our last swing high, which gave us the swing low. As long as price can hold into that structure, we don't break through that high. That keeps me bearish, and I'm just looking for the continuation of this bearish swing for a lower high, and then of course the next drop. But yeah, New Zealand CHF, I do like it. We'll be keeping a close eye on that one. I believe we're probably looking at a similar move, to be honest. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so I'll go through GJ next. No problem. What is up? Amir, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so we'll go through gold for you. No problem. Dark Sean, also pretty good. Nice. Okay. So it was Christmas and still a pretty good week for you. That is good to hear. Okay, nice. Yeah, yeah. GJ is probably, if you're operating, try and compound a small account. Yen pairs are probably the best pairs for it in terms of growth, because a lot of pips, they move pretty quick, and it's easier to catch a 70, 100 pip move on pound yen compared to like Euro USD, for example. So yeah, it will be a lot more aggressive. Of course, it can go against you for that matter as well. But you're looking for movement, you're looking for momentum, and yeah, yen pairs will give it to you, especially pairs like pound yen as well. But yeah, that reminds me, I'm supposed to go through GJ next. Okay, still looking for an entry. Okay, so that you still looking for an entry on pound yen? Hey, what's up, Mo? Welcome to the stream. I'm doing good, my man. Hope you are well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're had a nice weekend, refreshed, ready to go again. So yeah, I'll go through pound yen now. So we ended the week pretty bullish last week. So yeah, despite it being the holidays last week, pound yen actually had a bit of a move to it. This was the Christmas week, and it actually had a pretty nice move. Of course, it wasn't the best move in the world. You've got to take into consideration the lack of participants in the market, but we did see some nice momentum going up there. It wasn't just pure sideways. But I'm looking for a bit more upside for pound yen. I do think there's a good chance we do get back to the daily high here at 199.659. And then once we get there, I will start to contemplate some shorts because this is a really strong high for me. If price does respect that well, I will be looking for some downside. It's a bit more counter trend, but the risk reward makes sense because I will be looking to try and swing this one back to the swing lows down here, down there potentially. I will be trading stops. I won't necessarily have a target for the position. It would just be how far can I take this? Whether I get trailed out for 1R or take a loss or trailed out for a 6R, it just does depend on what the market gives me. But I know this is a definitely an area where we could look to turn around. Of course, if price was to break through that and see a solid close above it, that would put to bed my bearish bias. At that point, we've got some confident bullish structure. And I'll be looking at the next high low somewhere to try and take it back to the highs here on the left at 207.805. So pound yen's very interesting at the moment, still very bullish, still seeing a lot of momentum to the upside, and rightly so. However, once we start to hit that daily high up there at 199.659, that will be an area which I'll start to look to short from to try and anticipate that big double top forming and possibly a big reversal. So yeah, with pound yen, of course, from an intraday standpoint, we're still seeing higher highs and higher lows. I did talk about this area here last week. I said if price was kind enough to see a big pullback, retest that low again, I think that's still a really nice place for a buy. Of course, not really looking likely now that we'll see a pullback and another retest of that area, but I do anticipate more upside, at least for us to get back to that high. And as I said, I will start to look for some shorts from here for a push down, but we have to respect that level. Have to see some wicks, rejection, bearish engulfing candles. If I see that, great. Yes, I will look to short. If price was to break through that and not really see the rejection I'm looking for, I will definitely hold my horses. And if we do see a strong break, I will actually change my bias to bullish. So very, very important levels. Going to see what happens. And a few yen pairs actually like this as well. A few yen pairs coming to some big levels where I could look to get back and do some shorts, similar to my CAD yen trade from a couple of weeks ago. Could look to get back into a situation where I try and really swing it to the downside as well. Okay, that is good. Good to hear more. Good to hear. Good to hear. But yeah, I will go through my watch list. I'll go through gold quickly for a minute, and then I will go through my watch list, and we'll go through all the yen pairs. So yeah, as I mentioned with gold briefly, that shorts do look pretty good for this one. I did suggest some shorts around 26.40, but it doesn't look like we're going to come back and retest it again. I mean, we did retest it last week, but if you're looking to enter now, yeah, that boat might have sailed. So it would be nice if we would see a bigger pullback into that zone, retest it again, maybe catch that third higher high. So 1, 2, 3, and then get the drop from there. That would be nice. But overall, gold, I do see falling back to the low here. We've got a lot of momentum in the market right now after the big double top. So I'm looking at this as a pullback for some shorts back into the low at 25.84. So yeah, gold going forward, I do see more downside now. Of course, I'm still very bullish longer term. And the move back to the highs here at 27.80 is the move I'm looking for. It's just about timing that well, waiting for the right time to get involved. And the first day of interest, where I'll look to try and anticipate some buys, will be back at this low here at 25.50. So that's where I'm looking for price to get towards for gold. So hopefully you can get a nice sell over the next few days. Then once we get to 25.40, I'll start to contemplate some buys. Of course, if we were to break through, I'll step away. Maybe gold has some more downside left. I wouldn't be too surprised if we do get a bigger pullback to the 2400 area, to be honest, before we do start to see some upside. So if it breaks, I'll step away. But if it does hold, I'll be more than happy to look for longs. But for now, that's the move I'm looking for gold. Like I said, in terms of entries, I think the boat has left the harbor. Trains left the station. Unless you've already got some entries here, it's a bit difficult to be entering now. Like I said, maybe we do pull back again, so keep an eye out for that. But if we don't, yeah, it's maybe a trade that's missed, but there's always a trade around the corner. So never need to be too disheartened if you do miss a trade. There's always another one. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with gold. I'll go through the indices whilst I'm still on the topic of US pairs as well. So yeah, US 30 was cooked here. Yeah, we did see some nice downside as well. So of course we did break structure not long ago. So I've been pretty bearish on US 30, looking for some more downside. When structure breaks, that's when my buyer shifts, and that's exactly what we got when this move happened. I think that was from the interest rates, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, pretty sure it was. And yeah, we had a nice reaction at that zone there. So I was talking about some shorts last week, trading in that area. When was that? Was that Boxing Day? Yeah, Boxing Day had a nice move down. So again, if price was to move back up into that same zone, I think the sales still look good as well, because the idea is that we're looking for a lower high and a continuation back to these lows, which will be at 42,100. So the idea is we're looking for a push there. Then maybe one will push to the upside. If there is, keep an eye on those shorts. And then, of course, you've got a lovely move back down to the lows. Again, don't really want to be entering now where current price is. I think if you're a bit more intraday, you could probably contemplate something like this happening. Maybe we don't get that bigger move back into the high up there, but we do get a short-term pullback. This would be the better trade, better risk reward, better place for an entry as well. But this might be the only situation where you do get to a nice short. So if you're on the intraday timeframes, I would keep an eye out for that as well. But yeah, in terms of US 30, more downside is what I'm expecting. NAS 100 as well. This one hasn't broke structure, so I'm not as bearish with this one. But because we had such a strong drop, of course, from the interest rates, it does make me a little bit weary that this might not be a regular pullback. Pullbacks are not always so aggressive. So even though, yes, we're still respecting structure, this was our swing low, that was our swing high, we had a healthy pullback, respected some areas of support on our left, had a really nice buy to the upside, but we're struggling now. So for now, I don't really have a setup for this one, other than if price was to come back and retest the low. I think that's a nice place for a buy still. But again, I wouldn't be so confident about holding this back to the highs there, just because characteristics are changing. Looks like we're forming a lower high as well, which isn't particularly a great sign there too, but at least would expect a reaction. So yeah, that's kind of the best I've got for NAS in terms of the buys and sells. I wouldn't be looking to sell NAS until we get that break of structure, which is why US 30 is a good sell, because we've broken through structure with US 30. We've taken out key lows. Therefore, this is a good short. And then kind of the same thing for the S&P as well. Nice reaction at that area, which we spoke about last week. I think if price was to come back into that area, it looks good for some shorts. We did actually break structure for S&P, just about taking out that low. Not the biggest break of structure you'll ever see, but definitely taking out the structure with the closure below. So we did speak about some shorts here last week. Nice move down. So again, if you're not in the trade, I think that the boat has left. The train's left the station. Unless we're to come back and retest it again, then we can contemplate some more shorts. But yeah, definitely looking pretty bearish across the board for the indices. Not looking too good there. What's up, Broadway? Hope you're doing good. Doesn't use 30 tend to do well in January? I'm not too sure. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe it does do well in January. Maybe it does do well in January. I haven't looked at that correlation. But yeah, it might do. Because I was thinking a lot of people tend to sell some of their positions in Jan because of the tax year, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, again, in terms of US 30, if it is going to see some upsides in Jan, then I want it to be breaking through that area first. Because from a technical standpoint, I don't really see a good buy here. So even if it does do well in Jan, and it's going to do well in Jan as well, I want it to start breaking through this area. Then I can start contemplating some more longs, because at that point, we invalidate that area and we start to get some more successive high lows in our favor. So at that point, from a technical standpoint, we've got a decent buy there. But yeah, if US 30 does do well in Jan and you want to focus on buys, that is definitely good merit. But I'll wait for some confident bullish structure to come back into the market, so at least the technicals line up with that bias as well. and then you can actually trade that well. But for me, with that breaker structure, yeah, that only makes me bearish. If we are going to be bullish, let's break through this area here, and then I can start to contemplate some longs. But so far, I would only be looking at shorts. Anyway, I'll go through some of the yen pairs. Actually, I'll go through all of the yen pairs. AMD, dollar yen, I will take a look at them. So yeah, yen pairs have seen a bit of movement. I'll start with dollar yen. If I have missed out a pair, let me know. But yeah, dollar yen is actually a pair which I do like. I'm just looking for the bigger pullback, which I have to be very, very patient for. I'm looking at the bigger swing from this low to the high. And this is really where the confluence does lie. Back on a retest of this zone here at 50, which is around 153.5. And I would be looking at a high low back to the high there. And more importantly, oh, don't know what happened there. More importantly, I'll be looking at a push back to the swing high on the weekly chart, which is all the way up here at 161.738. So the idea with dollar yen is that we've taken out some major swing highs here on the daily chart, which is making me pretty bullish because now we've got some bullish structure to really work with. Of course, you got the swing low there, you got the swing high there, lovely swing low, and of course, you got the new swing high, which I don't know, maybe forming a top now, maybe we want to push up a little bit higher, but more or less we've created a new high. So now the next phase is the pullback, looking for the next high low to take that to the upside. And because again, it's such a big swing, I need to see a bigger pullback for it to make sense in terms of being in sync with the market. So I need that bigger pullback, and this is really where my confidence does lie. Back down at 154, 153.5. So this is really where I'm looking for the pullback to come into. It's a market which is on my watch list. I'm looking to take buys if it does get there, but of course we're a long way away. So not something that I'm majorly focused at the moment, because it's probably going to take at least a week for us to get there if I'm going to get some entries. But that is what I'm looking at. There might be some opportunities to take dollar yen to the downside in terms of taking advantage of the pullback and some shorts from that perspective. Not really my type of trade, so I will leave that to anyone who wants to do that. But I'm very bullish on this one. High time frames look very bullish. We actually had a nice break and retest of some weekly structure as well, which does definitely add to the confluence of the buys. As we can see, some really strong resistance on the left here, taken as support. Really strong rejection there as well. So it does look like dollar yen has a really good chance of continuing to push to the upside back to the highs and maybe beyond that point as well. So very bullish on dollar yen, just looking for that next pullback. Have to stay patient. Nowhere near really. So like I said, not really too focused on this one, but it's definitely a pair which I'm looking to trade. And it's the only kind of dollar yen pair which I'm kind of looking for that bigger swing to the upside, because we spoke briefly about pound yen. I'm actually looking for some shorts as we come back to the high there. Things look good. Euro yen, similar situation as well. I do like the shorts around the high here. I'm still not quite convinced yet with Euro yen in terms of the bigger swing back to what is this, 175? Is that 175? Yeah, I'm still not quite convinced with the push back to the swing high here. That could very much be the case, but I want to see Euro yen really break the high here aggressively first before I even contemplate some longs. If price for Euro yen does get back to the high here and starts to struggle, I'll be more than happy to take some sales to try and take Euro yen back down again. And I wouldn't be surprised about a bigger move back to the lows here as well. So Euro yen, I still like the shorts for this one. At the moment, structure is still pretty bullish. And I did speak about some buys last week on the retest of this area here, which is 163.5. So if Euro yen was to have some pullbacks, I think this could be a nice trade on the intraday level. So it dropped to the hourly chart. So yeah, 163.5 looks really good there. Retest, find some longs. And of course, look to try and swing it back to the high there. You've got decent risk reward in your favor there, should you see that swing. But yeah, I'm not quite convinced about that bigger move back to the highs as I am with dollar yen. So when we do hit these highs here at 166.5, which is this high there, and the same with pound yen, I will be looking for some shorts. And if price was to break through, I'll stand back and see what happens afterwards. If it's a strong break, then maybe I might be looking at that bigger swing. But for now, I do like the shorts as we do come to that area there. So that is very much the plan I have with Euro yen, pound yen, CAD yen as well. I have the same idea. At the moment, still looking bullish intra-week, intraday. As you can see, we had that double bottom there very, very nicely, creating new high, low, new higher high. Looks like we're about to pinch that as well and create another new higher high. But as I said on the weekly analysis on the weekend and last week as well, it would be nice to get some pullbacks there for CAD yen, come back to retest some structure, either the high here or come back and test this brief consolidation there as well. And then, of course, be on our way to the upside. And then if we do push to the high in a similar manner of how we're looking, 111.500 is the area which I'll be looking to short from. Again, anticipating a big swing to the downside. Same situation as pound and euro yen. I'm still not quite convinced that that we're going to push all the way back to the swing high here just yet. So if we do push back to the high here, I will be looking for that bigger double top, that low high formation, or possibly a big swing to the lows here as well. So still pretty bullish on CAD yen intraday, intra-week. I think more upside is still the likely move. So if you do see some downside, I would be looking out for some buys that take it higher. Same thing for euro yen, same thing for pound yen as well. Swiss yen, not really. Not really looking for sells just yet for this one. I think the buys still look good. Again, if you can see a retest of this area here, lovely resistance, broke through for all that momentum. Never came back for the retest, so it's still a nice, fresh area of support. Should price get there, there's a good chance we do bounce and see some upside. I wouldn't be looking for the sell for this one, though, at 177.236. It lacks some of the details that CAD yen, euro yen, and pound yen have, although we could very much form a double top there, but I wouldn't be as confident with this one. So CAD yen, euro yen, and pound yen look good, and I'll get onto Aussie yen and New Zealand yen in a moment. But I think the buys just look good here for Swiss yen. I wouldn't really contemplate the sells. I think the buys look good. Trying to find that next higher low. If price was to pull back, retest this structure here, I think that's a really nice place for a buy at 173. Take it back to where we came from and possibly back to the highs there as well. In terms of Aussie yen, so this one too, I think at the moment the buys look good. I'm expecting more upside. I spoke a lot about this being the next high low in this phase. So of course, you got the wick low there, you got the next high low there, and this I'm expecting to be the next high low in that bullish sequence. But again, if we do push back to the highs here, a situation where I'm not so confident that we do push back to the high there. I do think there's a greater chance that we do double top this or respect it some way and we do sell off again. So when we do push to 102, 183, this is another sell opportunity which I'll be interested in. And again, I'm not looking to sell every situation with these yen pairs because they'll all do the same thing or not. But I do like that area for a sell at 102.183. But for now, I think the buys look good. Looks like the market is about to break structure to the upside again. In terms of taking up the highs here, haven't quite done it yet. But I do think that is definitely on the agenda. Price to break through the highs here, find some retest to go long, maybe retest the high here, something like that. It depends how we break out and how we move. So I'll give more in-depth setups later in the week as things really develop, but that's what I'm looking for. You can see all the rejections here, multiple wicks, multiple rejections. Spoke a lot about this last week, how we keep seeing really aggressive wicks to the downside, not the sign of a healthy bearish trend. And of course, you're seeing a lot of momentum here in the buys there too, which tell us that, okay, the market's really failing to push lower. So now that it has come into place, I do think we're likely to see some new highs. And then, of course, you're looking for your pullback for some longs and then maybe some sells later on back at the 102.83. And if I go take a look at New Zealand yen, I do think it's the same situation as well. Span to the daily chart, looking at this high low here as being the next in this sequence, just about. And again, if you push back to the highs here, I'm not quite confident that we break through them and get all the way back here again. So I do think there's a good chance we get there, reject, and possibly have a big sell. So that's another move I'm interested in. It's the same move with the yen pairs. They're very correlated. They do the same thing. So I'm not trying to overthink it, but I'll pick the best one and go from there. But again, yeah, looking for that bigger sell. In terms of the more immediate price action, because of course we're not going to get to those heights for at least another week or two, maybe. So stay patient for that. But again, you can see all the rejection we had in this area, a lot of wicks, really big reactions. Looks like price is about to break resistance here. So I would suggest if we do see a healthy break, looking for some pullbacks, retest, and some longs to the upside. Look pretty good. So on the short term, pretty bullish on the yen pairs. But I do think the bigger move could still be to the downside for the yen pair. So euro yen, pound yen, Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, CAD yen. I'm still looking at big shorts for them long term. But because we are still seeing higher highs and higher lows on the low charts, hourly and below, it might mean that we do see a bit more upside for the next couple days or few days until we get some bigger shorts. But that's really where I'm at with the yen pairs. Let me have a quick look at the JPY basket. So yeah, that's kind of steadily sold off as well. So I do expect it to get back to the low here at 61.21. And I do think we're probably going to see that move there, which is again another reason why I'm short-term bullish on the yen pairs. As the yen basket does fall, yen pairs do move up. And if we do get to this low and respect it and turn around, then of course I do expect the yen pairs to turn around as well. But I was looking for the retest of this area. It doesn't look like that quite is going to happen. It might just kind of steadily sell off a bit. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs. More okay, very active there. Short euro yen, short gold, short oil, and buy BT on Sunday. Nice. Yeah, I mean, with euro yen, I'm looking for shorts as well. I'm gonna wait for price to go a little bit higher. If it does, of course, it might not do. But I'm waiting for price to go a little bit higher to 166.5. That high there, and that's when I'm see if I can join you in the shorts there for euro yen. Gold's already been selling off quite well. I haven't actually looked at oil much, so I'll go take a look at that in a moment. And BTC, I haven't actually looked at that much either as well. NAS and US 30 not looking good, by the way. What are you looking to do with those markets? You're looking to sell them as well or buy? BTC, okay, I'll go through oil quickly and then I'll take a look at BTC. So in terms of oil, like I said, I haven't really been keeping up to date with oil. I don't really trade oil anyway. But I have spoken a lot about oil in recent weeks. A lot of people have been interested in trading oil, actually. So yeah, I still like this level up here at 72. Because again, what do we have with oil? We have pretty much a ranging market here. Equal lows around 67, and we got equal highs around here. Proven level of support and resistance. So if price was to get there again, I do like the shorts. Overall, with oil, I do think the bigger move is still to the downside. If I do zoom out to the daily chart and zoom out, I do think that the wick lows here on the left are likely to be taken out at some point. Could be a while because we do love our consolidations here, but I do think eventually the market will go take out that wick low, which you guys can't see. There you go. So I do think that wick low will be taken out pretty soon. We got these consistent lower highs here, one over there, second over there, third, fourth, fifth. And I wonder if we can come back, retest the high of the range, maybe a bit of a fake out, put the next lower high in this bearish sequence in. And from that, we might see the drop to the downside to go and take out that wick low and kind of just continue this bearish move. So Oil, I'm pretty bearish on as well. I do think the bigger move for oil is to the downside. As long as we keep up with these lower highs, the market keeps printing. I do think we'll like to put that in another low high as well. Maybe it's a little bit higher because we have had some really sturdy resistance here. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the market was to kind of fake that a little bit to give us that next high. And then we see a nice sell-off from that. So it gives us our next lower high, and then we get the drop from that. But essentially, that's kind of what I'm looking at for oil. A push up and a sell. Maybe it fakes the high. Maybe it respects the high. We'll have to find out and see as price develops. Of course, it's always very difficult to pinpoint exactly what the market's going to do, but you have an idea, and if that idea sets up, you trade it. So either we get the fake out in the retest, or just a direct retest, but looking for the sell. And of course, in terms of targets, since price has done such a good job at respecting this level on numerous occasions, I'll say that looks like a healthy target to have. A nice short into that area. Then you can always leave some positions to run if you're feeling a little bit more optimistic. But yeah, oil pretty bearish on oil as well. Not the biggest fan about current price because it is still a little bit choppy in this area. You know, it's kind of in the middle of the range, so it's a little bit more choppy. So, you know, if I'm going to get involved in the ranging market, it's because I'm right at the top or right at the bottom. And this would be, you know, being right at the top so I can get nice stop loss above the high. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with oil. In terms of BTC, so Bitcoin, we're testing some really key support. And if you caught my weekly analysis on the weekend, I mentioned that this support is very, very critical for me because if price can keep this up, I think Bitcoin can have a really nice swing to the upside, another big move. If price was to break through this, then it's not looking good for Bitcoin, I must admit. I do think we can have a pretty big drop back to the next big level, which would be around 73, 74K. Because if this level breaks, there's no kind of obvious level of support next. There are some minor areas here on the left where, you know, price did stall a little bit, but I wouldn't expect that to suddenly send the market back up again. It could do, you know, nothing's guaranteed, but this is a strong support. We've rejected this area on numerous occasions with multiple wicks, so I can see a lot of buyers are concentrated in this area. Sellers are failing to take price through this level. So if it does hold, could very much give us the next bull run to the upside, back to highs and higher. If it breaks, then I don't see a confident or a strong level, which I would suggest buying from until we get back down to the high here, which is around 73K. So if it does break, I do think there's a big move to be had with gold back to 73K, which again, I expect to just be a pullback. So it's not like the end of the world. It just means we're having a bigger pullback than maybe originally expected. And there could be some phenomenal buys that you take back to the high and hold for even longer as well. But for now, yeah, still holding support around 94K. I think if you have some stops just underneath the level here, you're looking good. And if it holds, looking at a move, oh, that is a horrendous arrow. You're looking at a move back to the high and then probably higher as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Bitcoin. I must say Ethereum, whilst we're on the topic, does not look healthy. And broke through some support, which is never a good thing. And now it's got that as resistance to deal with after the really strong rejection of the high there as well. So I wouldn't really be surprised if Ethereum does make a move back to support down here. Yeah, this is effectively a bit of a ranging market, really strong rejection of the high. We've broken through some support here as well. That's going to be flipped as resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum has a strong move up, respects it, and then sells off again. So yeah, not looking good for Ethereum. I wouldn't say it's not looking good for Bitcoin just yet. If that support breaks, then yeah, it's not looking good. But at the moment, I would be pretty bearish on Ethereum right now, unless we break through that zone. But if we respect it, I think we're going to get another drop, at least back to 28.85. Then we can go from there. Maybe we do bounce and turn around. But yeah, we'll analyze that when that happens. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with those markets. All very interesting. If you guys are enjoying the content, by the way, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. If you are If you are enjoying the content as well, want to see more of it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But yeah, guys, I do really appreciate all the love, likes, you subscribing, hitting the bell does really mean a lot. So I do really appreciate that, guys. Anywho, okay, open mind this year, not sticking to Forex. Yeah, I mean, a good opportunity is a good opportunity, whether it is FX, crypto, whatever. A good opportunity is a good opportunity. As long as you can have an opportunity, manage risk with that opportunity, have a positive risk to reward. So if it does play out, you're making more. If you do lose, that is a good opportunity in itself, no matter what market it does come from. As long as you've got a clear defined setup and you know what you're doing with that. But yeah, hopefully that made sense on Bitcoin. Amar Sana, what is up? Hope you're well. Pound CAD, yes, I will take a look at Pound CAD for you. No problemo. Excuse me. So yeah, with Pound CAD, as I mentioned earlier, I do think some shorts look good, but I would keep it on the shorter term because if I expand to the daily chart, this is still very much a confident bullish market, confident trend. So because of this, trend's your friend. Don't necessarily want to go against the trend, but there are times where, counter trend setups do make sense. But the thing about counter trend setups is that you want to be careful. You don't want to look for such big moves. You want to not overstay your welcome because at any point, the trend could very much just continue. So we're at some major resistance on the weekly chart. You can see with all these wicks here, the market's having such a tough time trying to break through this area. For the past 9-10 weeks, we've just been putting consistent wicks into this zone. Maybe last week we're starting to gain some momentum, but mostly, for the most part, it's just been a lot of wicks. So the market is really fading at this area. So shorts look good if we can maintain that. I did say I like the move to the upside, but I'm not a big fan of this bearish move down. We're kind of seeing very small 4 bearish candles there, which doesn't really instill a lot of confidence in me that price is respecting that level. So I wouldn't be surprised if it were to push up again and then have another rejection. And if that rejection has some strength to it, that could be a nice sell opportunity, maybe in the hourly time frame. Stops above the high and again, I'm looking for a push back down to this support level. If not, I would refrain from entering if we don't see another strong rejection, because I wouldn't be surprised if price was just to go and break through this. Because again, we're going counter trend. We need to be extra careful and be extra patient. But yeah, pound CAD, nice area to short from. Kind of got like a head and shoulder pattern going on here. Left head, right shoulder. So if we can reject this area, it's definitely a nice place to sell, included the fact that we're testing that big level in the weekly chart. At the same time, though, if you are bullish on pound CAD and you're looking for trend continuation, I'd wait for this level to break because there is a big level on the weekly chart, which I do think price is going to go test if we do break through that resistance there, which is this level just above us at 1.83. So if I drag that across, you can see we just missed it not long ago. So if price was to break through this zone here, there is a strong opportunity, a strong chance anyway, that we will get back to 1.83 up at that level. So the buys look good. So of course, this area will be turned into support. Look for some entries like that to write it back into that level there. So it depends if you're bullish or bearish, which way you're looking to go. But for me, it does look like if the trend's going to continue, we're going to break through, and some buys in the pullback look the best. At the moment, we're still respecting, so sells look good for now. Just need to wait for a stronger close, a stronger bearish reaction. And then, yeah, can get into some nice shorts. But need price to develop there a little bit. But yeah, I'll go through my watch list because there's a few pairs I'm looking at. I did exit, or I did get taken out my pound CHF trade last week. I was stopped out for break even. Price didn't see the move I was looking for. I was originally in some shorts from was it last week or the week before? No, the week before, sorry. I was taking out break even last week, but I entered the week before on this candle here, stops above the high there. And I was looking for a push back into, that is the 4-hour chart. I was looking for a push back into this level here and just missed it. Not by many pips, but essentially was looking for the push back to the low end of the range. Unfortunately, didn't quite happen, and price did return and hit my break even. So I did get taken out of the trade there, but I was happy with the way I managed it because the idea is I'm looking for a big swing. Potentially, this is a big double top forming the next lower high for price to see a massive swing back into the low there. So I am looking for a really big move here. And the idea, if you're looking for bigger moves, leaving more on the table. But the first area of interest before I was going to lock in gains and maybe trail stops a little bit further was definitely the low of the range, because I didn't want to do anything whilst we're in the middle, because I know this is where we get a lot of fluctuation. So I don't want to be looking to get in the way of myself as price fluctuates. But unfortunately, it did take me out. I will still be looking for shorts because the idea is that I'm looking for this to hold and a move down. But it needs to be some strong rejection, because one of the reasons why I did get short is because we had a really nice fake out. So as you can see, lovely resistance, of course, over there. Price came back there again, really strong close above, and then price came straight back below. So not only is price rejecting that level, but also had a fake out. So potentially any liquidity above the high there originally would have been taken out, and then kind of expecting a continuation from that. So I had a lot going for me on that rejection. Now price is getting there again. Maybe we might see another strong rejection, which would invite me to some more shorts. But if it's just a small rejection, I will refrain from getting involved. I'm still pretty bearish. I'm still trying to look for that next lower high in this sequence. So one over there, second over there. I'm looking for a third, either at the high or maybe push a little bit higher up. But I am looking for that next lower high, so I have to be patient for that. But I'm pretty bearish across the board on the CHF currency pairs. Pound CHF looking for a big move. Euro CHF, I'm looking for some shorts, but it doesn't look like we're holding onto the level. So as we can see, consecutive lower highs. We've got one over there, got a second there, got a third there as well. And now I'm looking at a fourth in a similar area. As we come back into resistance, if price can respect this level, I do think that's a really nice area for a short. And again, looking for a move down as well. So if I see a strong rejection here, I will be looking for shorts for a push back into the low. Again, the thing about the CHF market is that everything is so bearish across the board on the higher time frames. If I zoom out to the monthly chart, even this market is on the decline. Same thing with pound CHF, same thing with Euro CHF, same thing with Aussie CHF, CAD CHF. Everything is pointing down. Of course, CHF JPY is going the opposite direction, but it shows you that CHF is the strong currency here. So as a swing trader, if I'm taking shorts on the CHF, it's normally a good idea. Of course, you're not going to have a 100% win rate, but if you catch the trade right, you could catch a really big swing in your favor. So that's one of the reasons why I like shorting CHF pairs. And at the moment, I'm seeing a few opportunities to do that. Euro CHF is one of them, looking for the retest of the high. Now, Euro CHF is my favorite CHF pair to get involved with. But if there's a good opportunity, I'm not going to turn it down. So a strong double top there, we'll get in for an entry for a sell, as long as we don't break through the high here on the left. So if price was to go and break through that high at 0.944446, a lot of fours there. If price was to go and break through that, that would invalidate my bias, because we're breaking structure. And at that point, it's more of a sign that we could be seeing a bit of a pullback there. And I wouldn't actually mind to get into some buys at that point, because at least the bad thing about shorting CHF is the swap. If you're buying CHF pairs here, there's positive swap. If you're selling, negative swap. So that's not great. But the buys are not too bad, because you gain money by holding it overnight. But the CHF pair which I like the most is New Zealand CHF, which is a pair on my watch list as well. So Euro CHF, Pound CHF, and New Zealand CHF are the three pairs I'm looking at. Aussie CHF looks good as well, which I'll get to in a second, but it's got some work to do before I do start looking to actively short it. Now, New Zealand CHF is probably the closest pair So you're getting entry that with your CHF as well. This one's already seen some signs of rejection, so I like it, but I'm looking for a bit more development at this area before I do short. I'm looking to see if I can catch the next lower high. You've got one over there, you've got a second one over there. Of course, you've got the third, and now I'm looking for the fourth, looking for the next drop. And you've got the swing low just below us here, all-time low actually as well. And that will be the target for the trade, but at least the push back to this area here, of course, first at 0.50261. What's up, Anthony? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for New Zealand CHF, trying to find the lower highs for one of those two zones and look for the continuation. Aussie CHF, I say I like as well. It's not quite ready yet for some shorts. It looks like price is breaking through this support level, but it's not quite breaking to the extent I want it to in terms of I would be happy to look for breaking retest. I need price to have a much bigger breakout than that before I can start to look for some shorts for this one on the retest of the zone. But the idea of Aussie CHF is I want price to clear this level. So now, of course, this will be turn resistance, and then I can use that to my advantage. Strong drop to the downside, look for the next lower high. Of course, Bub's your uncle, you're looking at a big move to the downside there as well. So just very bearish across the board with these CHF pairs. We're seeing lower highs on the higher time frame. So the idea is to keep flowing in that direction. Really, really powerful support here for Aussie CHF, which has held us support on many times, many occasions. So if we can use it as resistance, I know there's a good chance that it will hold as resistance and could give us a really big swing back to those all-time lows. Actually, no, all-time lows are there, but back into that same area. So Aussie CHF will be one I will keep an eye out for, but it looks like it's starting to break back above that level as support, which is not really what I'm after. There could be some buys as a consequence of that, but I'm not really interested in buying Aussie CHF right now. Kind of hoping we can get the break in the retest, but that might take a bit of a while. But yeah, that is really it for the CHF pairs. So New Zealand, pound and euro. Aussie, hopefully at some point, but not quite ready yet. CAD CHF is just in a big range. So I'm not really interested in that one, to be honest. I'll go over the CHF pairs in detail a little bit later, but in terms of our watch list, so yeah, those three CHF pairs. We've spoken dollar yen. This is a pair on the watch list as well. Again, it's going to take a while for it to set up, but it's a pair which I'm keen on. It ticks a lot of my boxes, so I'll keep an eye out for that. Dollar CAD, another pair which I really like. Very, very bullish. Seen some nice higher highs and higher lows. Hopefully you can get a bit of a pullback this week. Nice area of confidence there at 1.415. Still expecting a lot more upside for dollar CAD over the next few weeks, maybe month or so. That's the next big target I have for dollar CAD, which is just above 1.46. So the plan is wait for some pullbacks, see if I can long it back into that next level. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. And of course, I'm waiting to see what happens with gold and silver because I'm still looking at the longs with these ones, but yeah, not quite ready yet. Maybe something like that could form in the next few days. But yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at in terms of my watch list. More what is up? No, I'm not in any positions. The last trade I was in was my pound CTF position, but I did get taken out of break even on Friday, I think. Yeah, last week Friday. So not in any positions. I was shorting pound CTF over Christmas, but got taken out of that position at break even. Nothing else was quite set up for me. I mean, New Zealand CTF and Euro CTF are in my zones now, but I need some strong rejections from them if I'm going to find some entries. So yeah, they're both in my zones of where I'm looking to short from, but nothing quite yet. Then I'll keep an eye for the yen pairs as well, because I do like the shorts for the yen pairs too. Pound yen, very much like the shorts back at 199.659. Looking for that big double top. and hopefully you can get some shorts back into either euro yen and CAD yen, but pound yen's the closer one, so that's where my focus will be. Yeah, I mean, it's part of trading more. It's part of trading. Break evens, losses, wins, all part of trading. Not the aim is not to take it personally. The market is not out to get you. It's just a probability game, really. At the end of the day, you have an edge, which puts probability in your favor over a large sample of trades, and your responsibility as a trader is to carry that out and take those trades that fit the plan and fit the edge. And that's all you can do. Some will, of course, be losses, some will be break even, some will be wins, some will be big wins as well. Depends how you manage your trades. Um, and yeah, pound CHF was not to be in terms of the big swing. It was a nice reaction though. Just didn't really get going, and that's some of the reality with the CHF pairs. They do consolidate a lot. Eventually, they do have the bigger reactions, but that's why some people don't like trading them, because they do kind of move back and forth, and then every so often they do have that kind of big kind of move. But if you look, it does come after such a big prolonged consolidation. It takes a few days before you do see that big burst. So I was kind of hoping that we've had that long consolidation and that could catch the big move to the downside. Maybe we're going to consolidate for a few more days and maybe the next, but we'll see. Maybe even break to the upside, to be honest. That could be the case as well, which I'm not really interested in. I'm not looking to take pound CHF to the upside. I'm only looking at shorts because I'm looking to continue these lower highs. So I'm trying to find the next one. Yeah, that happens as well. Take you out and drop to take profit. Yeah, that's a situation which every trader is going to experience, no matter really what your strategy is or how you trade. I mean, the other side of the coin is, say if you take a trade here, your stop loss is here, and then price takes your stop loss and then it dumps into your take profit. The only way to avoid this situation happening, the only way to avoid it is just to not have a stop loss and just kind of hope that, okay, this is a bit of a fake out and price is going to continue in your direction. But the other side of the coin is that there will be times where, price isn't coming down and just keeps going against you. And that's how you take some really big losses. So, with trading, there is no one thing that is overly positive. There's always pros and cons with everything, like a stop loss. Stop loss, does limit your downside, but there will be times where price will tag your stop loss and then continue in your favor. But you're happy with that situation, because there will be times where, price does go against you and it just keeps going. And if you don't call it quits on that trade, you do take a big loss or you blow your account. But the way to kind of counteract this with using stop loss, which again, say you had an entry here, your stop loss was just above the high, you do get taken out and then price dumps. Well, if you do get another signal, you can always look to get back in, put your stop loss at the same area or above the next high that price creates, and take advantage of the move as well. So that way you still take advantage of the move, even though, yes, you did get taken out the first trade. But if you had a positive risk reward, it doesn't really matter because you make it back in the move plus more as well. So if you do get taken out of a trade, especially faked out, I'm always looking for the re-entry if it is possible. Sometimes it's not, but if it is possible, definitely looking for re-entries to get back in the trade, to take advantage of the move if I do get faked out. But yeah, that situation will happen. Same with break even. To avoid get taken out of break even, just don't move your stop loss to break even, and it will give yourself the maximum possibility to see the move. But at the same time, going break even will limit your losses. There will be trades that go in your favor, but then just don't quite hit your take profit and they go back against you. And then you're just taking an unnecessary loss there. So break evens help from that perspective as well. And like I said, there's no one thing in trading that's solely positive. There's negatives to everything: trading stops, take profits, stop loss placements, price action, fundamentals, you name it, indicators. There's always positive and negatives. Just have to find the balance. Yeah, again, that's the idea. You're not supposed to take a loss personally as well. And again, if you have a tight stop loss, then you will take more losses like that as well. But then again, the positive side of having a tight stop loss is that when it goes in your favor, you got a increased lot size, so you make more money. If you have a big stop loss, say up here versus stop loss there, of course, this will give you more room. So you're going to have more winners. But at the same time, it means that, let's say you take profits here, the person with the tight stop loss potentially takes, 6, 7R from that trade versus the person with the loose stop loss will take about, 2R, 3R. So the person with the tight stop loss makes double, but at the same time, the person with the tight stop loss will take more losses as well. So there's a balance to that. And again, no right or wrong thing to do, tight or loose stop loss. It just depends on the trader. Some people don't like taking the losses that a type stop loss will give you, so you want to have a bit wider a stop loss. And some people want to focus on those high risk reward opportunities, so they're happy with the tight stop loss. So it depends what you wanna use. UD, to be honest, the new stop loss, most times I hedge. Okay, yeah, that's the way to do it as well. That's the way to do it. If you've got positions in both directions, then the buy will cancel out the sell, and of course, vice versa. Again, there's no right wrong, because with a hedge, there's pros and cons to that as well. There's pros and cons to that as well. It helps manage risk as well, because if you've got positions in the opposite direction, it will cancel out any loss as well. But I like the stop loss just because of the ease and the simplicity of it. Once I put a stop loss in, it means I don't have to worry about risk or potential loss. I know exactly how much I'm going to lose, and I know exactly where I'll be taken out of. And if I am taken out of a position and price does turn back against me, I can always look to get back in the trade as well. I know that my positive risk reward will help me, because if I do take a loss and make the win in the next trade, I know I've made back my loss and then some. But yeah, I know some people who like hedging as well, and if it works for them, and of course use it. Trading, there is no one shoe that fits all. So many different ways to trade, so many different ways to manage risk. But the key thing at the end of the day is look to manage risk. You want to manage risk and keep that in check. Yeah, like I said, if the hedging works for you, then stick with that, UD. A lot of people kind of swear by hedging. Personally, me, I don't hedge. It's nothing really I've looked to do before, but again, if it works for you, stick with it. There's many ways to trade, but the key thing is, with every trader, you've got to be managing risk, because there will be that one trade where if you're not managing risk, it will just keep going against you, keep going, eventually blow your account. There's always that one trade that will keep going. So as long as you have something in place that manages risk to a healthy and sustainable extent, then do what you need to do. For me, stop loss works very well, so I keep up with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go through some of the CAD pairs. I'll go through some of the crosses, because I haven't actually spoke about those pairs yet, and they could be looking a bit interesting, especially some of the crosses. So I'm gonna go through them. CAD pairs, I do like New Zealand CAD, which I'll get to, but Euro CAD is just basically flat for me, so I'm not really focused with this pair at all. We've got more or less equal highs up there. We got equal lows here. Actually, let me do a poll. Actually, that just made me think of something. I want to do a poll and see how many people use a stop loss. And again, there's no judging, so don't be thinking I'm judging. The poll's anonymous. I can't see who's voted for what, and no one can either on the stream. But I just want to do a quick poll to see if people use a stop loss or not. And then I'll go through the CAD pairs. Actually, let me do that again. Okay, so feel free if you want to vote in the poll, but you're going to see how many people use a stop loss. And I did add sometimes because I know that trading is not always black and white. It's not either yes you use a stop loss or no you don't. Sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't. But yeah, I know for myself that I do use one. More. Okay. So you look at adding position when it go against you. Okay, fair play. Sometimes, I mean, the main rule in the book is don't add when it's not going against you. But there's a method behind it as well. There's a situation where you do add when it goes against you, but there's a certain point where you need to pull the trade when it's not going against you completely, of course. But yeah, if you know how the market works in relation to your trading, sometimes you do get into a trade, but if you often see that price goes past your entry a little bit, then moves in your favor, then you can use that to your advantage. So you can have a couple of entry points. Say you enter here, goes against you a little bit, you can add to the position there as well. And that gives you a higher price, a better price than if you were just entering here as well, because your average will be like somewhere here. And if it does tank in your favor, of course, you make more money because you've got more positions on at better pricing as well. But of course, you need to have something in place where, because there will be that one trade that just doesn't go in your favor, and that will, of course, keep going against you. So you need to have something in place that you eventually exit that trade. But yeah, you can have more than one entry points as well, and that could definitely play into your favor. With me, I'm always looking at one entry point, and if it's wrong, I will look for a re-entry. But yeah, for EuroCAD, as I was speaking on before, very flat pair. We've got equal highs there, equal lows here. So I'm looking at this market as pretty much a range, and not really looking to do too much with it, to be honest. As we approach back to the high, there could be some more sells. There is a nice level just above us here where you can see multiple rejections. I do think EuroCAD is likely to see a push back into that same high. In fact, I did speak about some longs last week for EuroCAD. If price was to push back down into this level here, I do think this is a nice place for a buy. And there's a nice push back to 1.51. So overall for EuroCAD, still pretty bullish. Still think there's more upside to be had with this pair. But it's a situation where I don't really have a long-term bias. A lot of markets I'm looking to trade, I always have a long-term bias for the pair, because I want to know where the long-term move is. So if I'm in line with that, I know I can hold trades longer. If I'm not in line with that, then I know I want to exit trades a little bit quicker. With this situation, with this pair, I don't really have a long-term bias because the market is just flat until we get a strong break of the high or the low of the range. I don't really have a good sense of direction with this pair. So I can only look at more short-term moves, intraday, intra-week moves, which again, nothing wrong with that. But I like to know if I'm in the direction of the longer-term move, just so I can maximize that opportunity as much as possible. But I think this is still a nice long. Again, will we get there? No idea. Price might just keep pushing to the upside. But if we were to pull back, retest the low, because we have been pretty consistent with all these high lows here as well, kind of looking for that double bottom and then a continuation back to the high. But that's really where I am with EuroCAD. In terms of New Zealand CAD, which I do like, a CAD pair which I do like, we have seen a nice move to the downside. We've broken through some structure on the left here. So I'm looking for price to continue falling. But of course, I do want a bigger pullback. I'm looking for a push back into this area here, which is 0.79768. Looking for a push back into that level, and I'm expecting more downside. If I drop to the 4-hour time frame, and of course, you can see we've got these successive lower highs, one over there, second, third over there, nice push. So the plan is to look for the next lower high, and of course, looking for some shorts to the downside. And this is really where my confidence lies. So hopefully you can see a push back into that same area, 0.618, retest that high, and of course, looking for downside off the back of that. So yeah, very bearish on New Zealand CADs. Breaking through some major structure. High time frames are pretty bearish as well. Hopefully we can get a bit of a pullback now that we have taken it this low, so we could see some buys come back into the market. I am looking for that bigger swing to the downside, so hopefully we can see that pullback there. But I think, yeah, New Zealand CAD's the only CAD pair which I'm remotely interested in. It's not my favorite opportunity because it is so corrective on the way down. If there was a bit more momentum in the trend, I'll be a bit more optimistic. But yeah, it is not a bad opportunity. Oh, okay. So you're talking about within the stop loss then more. Okay, I think I understand you. So if you were in a trade here, for example, and your stop loss is there, and if it goes against you, you will add to your trade there whilst it's still respecting your stop loss. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean that's a way of looking to maximize your risk reward as well. Because again, if price is still within your stop loss, that means the idea is still at light, still in play if it hasn't hit your stop loss yet. And if it does go against you and you add another position there, then of course the risk of this position is from there to your stop loss. So the risk is smaller on that next trade as well. And of course, it does play out to the same target. The risk reward is now from that to that. So you can really maximize the risk reward. And of course, you still got the initial position playing as well. So that's a nice way of thinking about it as well. But yeah, I understand what you mean. So yeah, there's multiple ways to really maximize winners, but at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is maximize winners and minimize losses. No matter what style, what trading strategy you use, everything is about maximizing winners and minimizing losers, because your profitability is just a balance between the two. The sum of the losses, some of the wins, and the profitability is the balance between the two. So if you can maximize your wins and limit your losses more, even if it's by a small bit over the long run, that will exponentially help. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for New Zealand CAD. And then Aussie CAD is a similar situation as well. But yeah, I'm not liking it as much. Still very corrective, similar to New Zealand CAD, as we can see how corrective the market is. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. If it stays corrective like this, I'm not looking to trade it. I mean, with New Zealand CAD, at least we've kind of broken through major structure. So I like that aspect of it. Our last swing low here for Aussie CAD was all the way down here at 0.88542. So if price was to go and break through that, then we'll be in a similar situation to New Zealand CAD, and then I'll like it a little bit more. But we're still very corrective. Still a possibility of a high low forming to push up again, which is not really what I'm after. If I expand to the weekly chart, overall, I'm seeing consistent lower highs here. So that's kind of what I want to keep in play with. And it looks like we're forming another lower high there for another big swing down. And if that is the case, then this is the level I expect us to push into, down at 0.86. So with Aussie CAD, very bearish on this one, expecting more downside. Again, what I'm expecting to happen is a pullback at some point, another lower high and more downside. just to keep up and continue what price has been doing already, which is very consistent with all these low highs here as well. There's a strong chance we do that again as well. So if you're looking for some opportunities with Aussie CAD, I'll keep up with the shorts, look for another pullback. I like this consolidation here. Nice brief range, strong move to the downside. If price was to get back there again, retest the level at 0.906. Good chance to catch at least a sell back into the swing low. Then hopefully you can look to hold the position a little bit further back into that same area there as well. But yeah, Aussie CAD, not my favorite, I must say. Still very choppy. At least New Zealand CAD's breaking through some major structure. Aussie CAD is still a little bit all over the place. Anyway, I'm going to go through some of the crosses, which are actually looking a lot better. They're seeing a lot of momentum recently, especially pound Aussie and pound NZD. These guys have been moving pretty well. So with pound Aussie, I do like the buys with this one. Actually, no, I like the buys pound NZD more. Pound Aussie is not a bad trade either. If I measure the pullback from the low to the high, I wouldn't mind if price was to come back and retest some support here around the 0.5, double bottom, and then a continuation. I wouldn't mind that at all. And of course, you've got the lovely swing high there to aim for. We've had a really big breakout, taking out some major highs for pound Aussie. We took out this high not long ago. Then we took out this high again as well. So the market is consistently breaking high after high. And there is a big level on the weekly chart. If I can type it correctly, there we go. On the weekly chart, which we could be looking at making a move towards, which is this level here as well. So there's still maybe a lot left in the tank for pound Aussie to the upside. So as us following the trend here, it means that we can look to hang on to our positions a little bit longer and possibly look for a push to 2.055. Of course, it's still a smart idea to look to secure some gains back at the high there. But if you take 80%, you might leave 20 to run or 50 to run. It's up to you. And trail stops behind that. But yeah, a nice move to the level here. As long as we don't take out the high, this is still a good opportunity. And I will be looking for a bounce there for some longs. Pound NZD is a little bit cleaner, in my opinion. And again, in similar market as well. I like the retest. Excuse me. I like the retest of the high here. Lovely swing high. Price broke through that with a lot of momentum. Haven't really come back for a retest yet. So I would be looking at a... Ooh, I don't know what I did there. We'll be looking at a swing back to retest that same zone. We've got a lovely confluence there with the 0.618. Price and have another move to that same area. Respect it. I'll be looking at the next swing. And that's, of course, a nice bear flag pattern. So you've got impulse there, minor correction, another impulse. And, of course, that gives you your swing there as well. So hopefully we can see that kind of play out over the next few days. But I'm still very bullish on pound NZD, and I do think high prices are likely as well. And if I go to the only thing with pound NZD on the higher time frames is that I don't really have a level which I'm looking for price to get to. I mean, there's one all the way up there, but I wouldn't be looking to target that necessarily. Pound Aussie, there's a nice level for us to target, so that's one edge pound Aussie has. But you can see lovely bullish trend, very consistent with the higher lows here. So the idea is looking to stay in tune with that and looking for more upside as we continue higher. So I will be very much focused on pound NZD for a while. So retest that level. I like the longs. Try and find the next high low in this bullish sequence and catch a buy there as well. In terms of Euro Aussie, not a big fan of this one. Actually, no, I don't mind it. I mean, I'm not looking to trade it myself, but Euro NZD is the one I meant. I'm not a big fan of. Euro Aussie, I like it because it's broken through some key resistance here. So I do think there's a good chance now we do push back into the high, which is all the way up there at 1.705 after this really aggressive triple bottom there. So as we can see, first rejection, second rejection, third, really strong rejection of all those areas. Price is broken through resistance now. So now I do expect this momentum to continue and take us back to the highs up there. So I don't mind it because I can get kind of a good gauge on where price is going to move to next. In terms of how I trade, it doesn't really give me an opportunity to trade it myself based on my criteria and what I'm looking for. But I do think this is a nice little buy opportunity on the retest of the high. Take it to the upside. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Take it to the upside, back into the high over there. So still pretty bullish on Euro Aussie, expecting more upside, but it's just lacking confirmations, which I will take in my personal trading. So I'd rather just focus on Euro Aussie and not Euro Aussie, Pound Aussie and Pound NZD. Let's see if I can take those higher. But yeah, Euro NZD, I definitely don't like this one. It looks like it's just about breaking the high of a range, but it's not giving me much confidence, to be honest. So, of course, you've got a lovely high there. If I take that across, it looks like price is breaking through that. I mean, we are coming back bearish today. I will see how this daily candle does close, because it could be looking to close to retest the level, or could be looking to try and close to break back underneath, which is not what I want to see. And if that does happen, then that means that I will have to be bearish again, because at that point, I'm looking for this to be a big fake out and looking for some shorts on the side of that. So, yeah, Euro NZD not a big fan of, but Pound Aussie and Pound NZD I am. Euro Pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar, not pairs which I'm the biggest fan of in general. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the monthly candles are going to close, because it's going to close tomorrow. So I'm going to keep an eye out on these monthly candles, because we get the monthly candle closed tomorrow, and we get the yearly candle closed tomorrow, and we get the quarterly candle closed tomorrow. So a lot of big important candles are closing tomorrow, because of course tomorrow's the 31st of December. So it's going to be a very interesting situation, because those candle closures will paint the picture for the next quarter, the next month, the next year potentially. So I'm going to look over them in a lot of detail over the next couple of days. But yeah, with Euro Pound still trading at a massive level of support, so naturally still pretty bullish at this area, looking for price to turn around. But um, unfortunately, I don't really have a setup for the buyers yet. Market's still respecting structure. As you can see there, still respecting structure. So if I'm going to buy this one, I need to see some break of structures. Then I'll look for some next high lows, and hopefully I'll see price turn around. But we'll see what happens there. I'm looking for the buyers, but they're not quite ready yet. Light the candle with me. What do you mean by that, more? Light the candle with you. If you guys are enjoying the content, by the way, please be sure to subscribe and like the stream. It does really help out. I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. It does really help out. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But yeah, Euro Pound, I am looking for some upside there, but I have to stay patient because it is not forming at all yet. Then in terms of Aussie, New Zealand dollar, I do like the buys with this one. Funny enough, because we have been pretty consistent with all of these higher lows here. So my thinking is that I'm trying to catch the next one and then catch the move to the upside. There's a long-standing trend line here at play as well. So if price can come back, test the trend line too, that's some great confluence there, and I'll be more than happy to try and take price to the upside. And again, if this trade does play out, you're looking at a very healthy risk reward back to the high. If it doesn't, you stop out, move on to the next position. But the risk is definitely worth the reward, which is what I'm getting at here. So hopefully we can see some pullbacks there for Aussie, New Zealand dollar. Then I can look for some buys later on. But yeah, that's kind of really where my focus is with those pairs, but still a long way away. So I'm not really interested in taking any and focusing on those pairs, because it's still going to be a while until we get there and I get some opportunities to get involved with. How are we doing with the poll? Okay, so 13 13 votes. We've got 23% no, 69% yes, and 8% sometimes. I mean, so the majority of people use a stop loss there, which is kind of what I was expecting to see. But of course, there's more than one way to manage risk. You don't have to use a stop loss. I mean, I'm a big advocate of stop loss, don't get me wrong, because it's the way I trade, it's the way I look to manage my risk. So I use a stop loss in my trading, but I know people who don't manage risk otherwise. But yeah, a stop loss just makes things a little bit more mechanical. It takes the loss for you, so you don't have to kind of manage the risk yourself, which of course can be a little bit emotional, can be difficult sometimes if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, majority of people use stop loss. Some no, some sometimes. But yeah, I was probably expecting similar numbers to that, to be honest. But yeah, nice to know. Nice to know that people do use stop losses. Nice to know that. I tried to make a joke, didn't work. Don't worry more. There's many times I tried to make a joke in the stream and it doesn't work either. Join the club. Join the club. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie New Zealand dollar. Then in terms of the CHF pairs, I haven't spoken about CAD CHF yet, but yeah, I don't really know what this pair is doing, to be honest. That's kind of why I'm not speaking about it, because to me it's just like a consolidation. We had a big fake out over there on the left. It's not really the left, but we had a fake out over there. Looks like price is respecting the low well, so we might see a push back to the high, but that's the best I've got there. There are more. It happens, my man. It happens. But yeah, CAD CHF looks like it's going to see a push back to the high of the range, but just not really interested in that at all, especially not entering now. Of course, if you're entering at the low of the range, that's a better proposition because you can get a nice entry at the low, decent stop loss, a risk reward back to the level you're looking at 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6 maybe. So that's a nice prospect, but you don't want to be entering now at current price. This is where you get the max speculation, max kind of chaos of the market in the middle of the range. Nothing you really want to enter consistently with at all, to be honest. UD, no, it is not. Stop loss is not mandatory with elevating traders. It is definitely strongly advised, but it's not mandatory. Dark Sean, you stop loss to put into accounts. Yeah, that's normally how it goes, to be honest. You blow a few accounts, then you're like, okay, yeah, I do need something that does help me with my risk management. Yeah, you do need something that helps you with your risk management. So yeah, the beauty of a stop loss is that you just place it there, and the risk is in the hands of the stop loss now. Of course, stop loss is not perfect. There are slippage, in times of high impact news. The market's quite volatile, or whatever. The market's volatile, you will be slipped sometimes. So if you're risking 1%, maybe you get stopped for 1.2%, 1.5%, maybe 3% potentially on some big bad days. That can happen. So yeah, stop loss is not perfect, and of course gaps as well. The market does gap as well, and sometimes it gaps above your stop loss or below, depending if you're buy or selling. Again, the stop loss will fill you in at the next available price, which could be twice or 3 times as much as you expected to lose as well. So there are some things like that, which again is there's no way to manage that apart from not holding your positions over the weekend or holding them overnight. That's the only way to manage gaps, really. But yeah, apart from that, stop losses do a pretty good job. Yes, you'll be faked out sometimes and you think you got stop hunted, and maybe you are got stop hunted. But again, the beauty of it is that you're not defined on a single trade. If you do get stopped out on a single trade and it does take you out of the trade, that's just one trade in 100,000. If you're going to be trading for a long time, which I expect everyone here to at least have that as a as a goal. You know, you're not looking to trade just for a year, you're looking to trade for a long time. You know, that's one trade in 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. So, you know, if you get stopped out, it's not a big deal. As long as you're managing risk, you know, you move on to the next trade. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. Avoid trading those hours as well. Avoid trading those hours as well. You know, if it's having a bit of a negative impact on your trading, I mean, I do hold over news, hold over weekends as well, hold over days, which of course as a swing trader I need to because if I'm looking for the big moves, you know, I can't, I have to. But it definitely is not great. Um, yeah, it's not great. Like one of the clear benefits of day trading and intraday trading is no swap, no potential gaps in the market because you're in and out the same day. Um, Yeah, so that's the biggest advantage. So if I was to day trade, it would be for those specific reasons: no swap cost and no worry about gaps. Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. You only can blow accounts if you over leverage, of course. Yeah, if you're risking too much, you know, yeah, it's going to happen 100%. Even if you have a stop loss, you know, if you have a stop loss, but the stop loss is for 100% of your account, then you know what's the point of having a stop loss then? So yeah, it does come back down to risk management at the end of the day, yeah, making sure that you're risking appropriate amounts and that is sustainable. You know what you can do is there's um, risk calculators or equity curve calculators which you can Google, and you know, say if you want to risk like 2% per trade and you got a win rate of X and a risk reward of X, you can enter those specific numbers into the calculator and it will tell you what your average drawdown will be, your average losing streak, average winning streak will be, your returns you can expect over 100, 1,000 trades. And it can allow you to kind of really understand, okay, if I have these metrics, I could potentially lose, you know, 10 trades in a row. Okay, so if I can lose 10 trades in a row, what's the point of me risking 10% per trade? Because that will eventually make me lose the account. So then you can monitor your risk from that perspective. You know, if you don't want to have more than, let's say, 30% drawdown on an account, then you know that, okay, if I risk 2% per trade, if I have that 10 losing streak, then the max I'm going to lose is 20%, of course, give or take commission and swap in that. So, yeah, you can look to manage your risk that way. Excuse me. The Elf, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Took a buy position pound chef, held through the weekend. Okay, nice. Um, Entry was 1.28. Take profit. Okay, looking good. Looks like your buy position is what took me out of break even then. Let me go take a look at pound seat chef. Where's your target for the trade? TP 1.13736. Oh, okay, you out the trade. 1.13736. Okay, so almost let you take profit then. Okay. But yeah, it's like a few pips away, so it's probably going to hit it pretty soon. Entry 1.128, 128, 128. Okay, somewhere around here. Okay, looking good there. Hi, the Elf, looking good. Praying for greater profits, greater results next year. I mean, yeah, I mean that's the expectation or the want at least. You want to always look to improve. But yeah, it comes down to the work you put in, really, you know, and the persistence. Of course, you can only put so much work in, and then it's up to the markets, really. You know, you could have a phenomenal year, but that's just because the markets aligned very well with your strategy, and you could have a okay year, still do all the necessary things, but just the market wasn't very aligned with what you were doing. therefore is not a phenomenal year. So there always that extent that yes, you can work very hard and understand your strategy very, very well, test it very well, know it inside out. But then it's always up to the market to dictate your results, which and yeah, it's just a part of trading. But yeah, hopefully, everyone sees a fantastic 2025. I'm hoping that we see some breakouts on the USD pairs because that has been very, very boring, I must say. Euro USD, a pair that I normally do like a lot, and I do like Euro USD a lot, but the past couple of years it has been very, very flat. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping for some breakouts next year for Euro USD, the DXY in general. So yeah, that would be nice. Dark Sean, 15-bit stop loss, 20-bit target. That is really tight, but it works for you. Yeah, I know. The beauty of that is the positive risk reward. 15 pips to 70 pips. You're looking at almost a 1 to 5 there. So you're looking at a very high risk to reward, and it means that you can have a low win rate and still be profitable. And that's the idea of trading. You're letting your winners run. When they do hit those 70 pip targets, it makes up for a lot of losing positions. And you can go through a losing streak of 10 plus trades, and then only 3 winners come by, and you make back all your losses and then some. So that's the beauty of a positive risk reward. It keeps you afloat. It means you don't have to worry too much about win rate. It's just more so about taking trades in the right areas where a 70 pip move is possible. Can you position yourself in the market where a 70 pip move is likely to happen? Not necessarily likely to happen, but has a possibility of happening. And if you do that, with consistency, you let the risk reward play out, you've got a profitable system. And then the difficulty lies staying disciplined and consistent with that. That's where a lot of people will trip up. All right, more appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, my man. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, but I appreciate it. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next stream. But yeah, my wish for 2025 is Euro USD breaking out. But yeah, the only pairs of which I'm really focusing right now is New Zealand CHF and Euro CHF, the two CHF boys. These guys are trading at some nice areas where low high could form, likely to form. Now I just need to wait for my confirmations. Well, New Zealand CHF, I've got 2 areas which I'm looking at. This area being the first one at 0.51. But I also am looking at 0.514 just above us with that 0.786 confluence as well. But I'm looking for the next lower high to continue this bearish trend. And this is definitely in my confluence for it. So I'm looking for some rejections there, development, and then I'll look for my entries. And then I'll pick between the two because Euro CHF is, of course, another CHF pair. So these guys are likely to sell off together or continue going up. Euro CHF is looking pretty bullish there with that 4-hour candle. So it looks like maybe we won't break through, but I'm not going to judge that too quickly. This is still a very live candle. And, by the end of this candle's lifespan, it could just be a big wick and we could see a really lovely rejection that follows suit. So I'm not going to judge that too quickly. Of course, if we do close above and the next candle does persist with that, then yeah, I will stand back. And as I said, if price does break through the high here, that's when I will completely back away with that bias, because at that point we're breaking structure, and if we break structure, it means it does invalidate my sell idea. So if you do break the high, I've got to back away. But yeah, looking really bullish. We'll see if we can pull back and maybe form a bit of a wick. If not, we'll break structure. I'll stand back. Then my focus will just be on New Zealand CHF really, to see what we can do with that pair. And if we have some nice healthy rejection, then yeah, I'll look to get some shorts in. Emmanuel, how are you doing? Hope you are well. Yes, euro pound, no problem. Okay, on the intraday time frames, you're looking for intraday buy. What's going on intraday? Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, I must say, intraday. It kind of looks like price has some nice support down here, but more or less is kind of flat. Move that out of the way. Um, okay, if you're looking for a very short-term intraday buy, I can get behind that because this is proven to be a very steady level of support. So let's say price was to stab back into that level again, maybe wick through it. It could be a nice little buy off the back of that. But it's not a situation where we're looking for a trend continuation or a swing because I can't really get a good read of what price is doing. Overall, I'm still pretty bearish here. Market's extremely flat right now, respect the highs very well. So the only thing I can really see here to an advantage of a buyer is this level of support. So yes, buys look good here. But it would be more so I'm taking advantage of a reaction rather than trying to plan a swing. So price was to come back into this area or come back into this area, looking to lock in gains there as we go along. And if you're looking for a bit more of a longer term buy, I'd wait for these highs to break and look for some buys on the flip, break and retest. But for now, I think that's the best I can find for a buy in euro pound. Otherwise, it's pretty tricky. Anthony, what is up? How's things on the trades for December? Also, birthday. Hey, happy birthday, my man. Hope you celebrate it well, or just have a good birthday in general. Don't have to celebrate it well, but I hope you had a good birthday. Anthony there. Look at gold. Okay, I'll finish things up with gold. But yeah, I had a couple trades this month, which came in a bit earlier. Pounds HF was yeah, it had a nice move, but it came back to hit me at break even. But I haven't really seen too much movement, to be honest. Anyway, which gold? I was thinking silver there for a second. So yeah, for gold, I like the downside. I like the downside for gold. I like the shorts off this level here, 26.35. I think that's a nice level for some downside. It's just whether price will get back there again for a retest. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I think this is a nice place for a short. And I'm personally kind of waiting for some buys for gold, which I'm looking at these lows for here. Potentially a big double bottom and hopefully a nice swing to the upside around 25.50. So this is kind of what I'm waiting for. But in terms of intraday, intra-week opportunities, there's still a lot of momentum in the market right now. We respect the highs very well off that double top, broke structure as well here with that move. So I'm looking at something like this happening for some more downside. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish on gold. I do think more downside is still the likely move for gold. I'm still, of course, long-term bullish. So that's still very much the play. But yeah, definitely no buys at the moment just yet until we get to those prices. And that, guys, does bring us to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And of course, make sure you go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. It does really help out. So I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed and hit the bell. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. Free to join, chat with other traders, join the community, chat with myself, share trading ideas as well as share ideas there too. And of course, you can learn a little bit more about Elevating Traders there as well if you are interested. But guys, really do appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. We'll be live again tomorrow as well. So do look out for that. I'm pretty sure the market's closed on Wednesday, so nothing going on there. But afterwards, everything will be back to normal. So yeah, guys, have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.